All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is April 1st, April Fools, April 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 1st, 2026. My name Coach Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you for being a part of my journey, allowing me to be a part of your journey. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following. Thank you for leaving kind comments on my content, on my social media. Thank you so much. Big shout out to Bob Jordan, John Jordan, Kathy, Sarah Roasted, Ed Carter, and Rick Sadler for sharing the BYOB content. All right, helping get the good word out there to the rest of the World Wide Web. Okay, how I captured 1900. It was not easy. It was an up and down day, utilizing 10% of the account, 7,100. All right, let's take a look at the markets first. All right, and the markets first. I'm just going to say I'm not liking this pattern. That's a head and shoulders pattern. Not liking this much at all. Kind of sounds like Dr. Seuss. All right. No green eggs and ham. Don't like the head and shoulders pattern I'm looking at right here. So what we need tonight, we need to see, all right, the futures or somebody come in and decapitate the head here. Okay, well, they got to make another higher high. We got a higher low. Need to see a higher high tonight or sometime before tomorrow morning. All right, and decapitate that head and negate the head and shoulders pattern. Coming into the close, I'm just going to call it bullish 10-minute consolidation because we're up and we're over. All right, it's not really an uptrend, not really a downtrend. It's just consolidating right here at the VWAP line. All right, so let's take a peek at the 2-hour chart. 2-hour chart is you've got the sticks and the 3 riding up on top of the 8. That's a 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. On the daily candle, we'll flip to another one over here. Okay, daily candle, higher low, higher high. We got the follow through on that bullish engulfing. That was nice. Higher high, higher low, closing over, looking like not quite a cross yet. I'm just going to call it a bearish trap, but under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Up in the upper third. All right, so if we can see, we're up here. We're in the upper third, so we're in quadrant 4, so that's bullish. All right, but we're still in a downtrend. Okay, we haven't made any higher highs yet. Still in a downtrend. We are ripping our way out of here, though. Remember, we got all the way down to 629. We're at darn near 558 today. Right about there, 558, 559. You can see that's today's price action. So 529, 59, that's a 30-point move right there. I don't think it's over. I think there's more as long as we can kill the head and shoulders tonight. Okay, so there's SPY on the daily chart, still in a downtrend, still bullish and in a downtrend. I'm going to take this out of here. I'm going to take all this out. Don't need it. Don't want it. Couldn't afford it if I wanted it. All right, so again, right here, bullish but in a downtrend still. Okay, nice thing is we've been moving up instead of down. On the weekly chart, here's the origin, April, up, over. You can see we made a lower low, so we're in a downtrend till we make a higher high. But we're still bullish because we're up here in the upper third. So there's SPY on the weekly. On the monthly, you got price. Here's the origin, April. Okay, up and over. We have not made lower lows, so we're still in an uptrend on SPY on the monthly chart. Let's take a look at, let's look at what happened this morning. What did I say I wanted to do? All right, let's see if we can find the instructions. Okay, this was my guidance or game plan or my bullish plan this morning. I plan to wait and trade the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Needed to see it over 650. I didn't know how far we're going to pull back. Okay, it's really important for 650 to hold for the bulls to have any upside. And they did give us the follow through on that daily candle. So we'll look at that on the hourly chart. Okay, so you got price act. Well, here's the daily candle. Okay, so here's that big candle. We needed follow through. We got a little bit of follow through. Not a lot, but a little bit, enough to qualify. Okay, just barely qualifying right there. All right, so 10 minute. Okay, so we had a 10-minute uptrend. Remember I said this is the picture of money right here. I said we have a 10-minute uptrend commencing. We have a picture of easy money commencing. All right, and you can see where the ADMA and the VWAP line. See the mouth between the two gets open wider and wider and wider there. And then we had the rollback, a little bit more violent rollback than I wanted. Kind of thought, maybe a bounce here, maybe a bounce on those twin towers over here, or bearish engulfing there. Thought maybe we could get a bounce on that. No such luck, right here at the VWAP. No, they wanted to stick in a bearish rubber band candle, and they did. And I noticed we didn't close underneath that, so I took longs, scalp longs, into the close, all right, for price to put in the bullish 10-minute rubber band candle up there. That's that bullish 10-minute rubber band candle right there, that wick that goes up into the sky. So I traded some of these 657 calls, all right, and I picked them up for like 15 cents, 18 cents, all right, and traded them on up to 30 cents and 38 cents. And then I had some of these 655 zero DTE calls and managed to ink out. I had over 1,000, but you can see I lost because price rolled over right here. So I took a big hit right there on that. Went back into these 657s, all right, for a bounce. Picked them up at 3 cents and 4 cents. Sold them for 5. Okay, it normally doesn't happen, all right. So, but that's what I did to capture that. So, all in all, 10-minute uptrend was beautiful until it rolled over right there. And you want to see the PPO. All right, here's the PPO. You can see right here, 10-minute uptrend. This candle, 0.04. This one should be 0.06. That's 0.05. Here's 0.06. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 candles over 0.05 up in 0.06 area. All right, so nice rip up there. And then you can see we started to melt off. All right there. Still at 0.06. Right there, you can see the candles start to not quite get over the 9 EMA on the PPO. And, of course, then we got the pullback. And they dipped much further than I wanted them to do. All right. But the good news is they did not ink out a lower low. All right. So that's the good news. All right. So we'll see what happens here with this Head and Shoulders program or pattern that happens tonight. All right, let's push all this over, okay, because you saw how I made the money today. And let's go to the QQQ. So I said I was going to trade the 10-minute uptrend. I showed you the 10-minute uptrend that I wanted to trade. All right, here's QQQ, 10-minute chart. I'm not going to call it an uptrend or a downtrend. I'm just going to call it bullish consolidation. Price goes up, it's over to the right. Okay, and we made a higher low. So I'm looking for a higher high. I'm looking for price to come up here to 600. I'm looking for SPY to make it up here to 660. All right, and then it may be on up here to 670. Okay, we'll see. All right, I don't know if we'll make it all done tomorrow. Remember, this is a short week this week. All right, so tomorrow is oh, by the way, let's talk about this. Tomorrow we got members e-learning at noon. All right, and it runs till 3 o'clock. Going to start with Doug, then me, then Rick. All right, so if you don't see me here in the room, it's because I'm in the combo room watching the or doing the members e-learning. Topic's going to be setting stops and setting targets. Okay, so that's for tomorrow. Oh, and by the way, one more announcement. Okay, for everybody out there, podcast land, digital land, got a live trading workshop. All right, April 6th, April 7th. I'm going to show you how I do what I do, and I ink out profits daily. Okay, so 8 till noon right there. Monday and Tuesday, that's after Easter. Remember, Good Friday, that's this Friday, we're closed. Okay, so tomorrow's the last day of this week. So we're going to have OpEx tomorrow. Okay, this is what you're going to be covering. This is what I'll be covering. 10-minute strategy, secrets of VWAP, green erases red, right? What to trade for options, casting nets, and done by noon. All right there. Okay, so again, out there, get registered. Oh, by the way, registration for this, all right, you're going to find the registration in the link inside the video. Or you can scan this right here, all right, with your smartphone camera and open up a little pop-up. Press the pop-up, opens up a web page. On the web page, fill out the registration form, and we will email you credentials to get in on Monday and Tuesday. All right, again, smartphone, scan it, all right, with the smartphone camera, and that'll pop up a link. All right, it's a QR code. If you don't know how it works, get your smartphone and scan it with the camera on. All right, so that's coming up Monday and Tuesday. All right, 10-minute chart, QQQ. All right, 10-minute, what do we say? Bullish consolidation. Price is moving up and over to the right. So I'm just going to call it bullish consolidation. Not really an uptrend, not really a downtrend. Everything kind of hovering there at VWAP. Also got, you got the bearish head and shoulders pattern showing right here too. Okay, so we need to see price tonight. Do it on the QQQ as well. All right, we want to see price decapitate the head, negate the head and shoulders pattern. Okay, so what do we trade on QQQ? Well, I'm sure I didn't trade QQQ. Well, I did trade a few, but got a 10-minute uptrend. You can see this 3 and the sticks riding up over the rising 8. Okay, you got a picture of easy money. See, this is the easy money picture. See the mouth between the VWAP and the ADMA. See how it gets wider, 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 and wider. Okay, that's the easy money right there. That's a picture. If you don't know what easy money looks like, take a picture of this. This right here, inside the box, okay, that right there, until it turns and rolls over, all of this is the easy money right there. That's the picture right inside this box. Okay, that's the easy money. All right, we got 2-hour chart. Let's take a 2-hour. All right, you got the sticks and the 3 riding up over the rising 8. Got a 2-hour uptrend. You can see we got daylight between the 3 and the 8. So that is a 2-hour uptrend. Okay, on the daily chart, let's take a peek there. Zoom out. I want to show you what's going on. Here's the April. This is the origin of our rally. We go up and then over, then we roll off right here. Currently, all right, as of today, we made a higher low and a higher high. We closed over a bearish trap. We closed under the falling 17, just like SPY. We closed under the all-time high anchored VWAP, just like SPY. Okay, we're up in quadrant 4, just like SPY. So that's bullish, but we haven't made any higher highs yet. So we're still in a downtrend, and we're underneath this uptrend line right here. Okay, so just like SPY, bullish and in an uptrend. All right, on QQQ. All right, let's look at it on the weekly chart. Weekly chart. Again, here's the origin of our rally. Started with technology at first. Okay, so April, up there, over to the right, and then kind of melt off. Okay, came down into here to the bottom of the upper third. All right, had a little bounce happen right there on the weekly chart. Okay, so candles, you can see we've got a low here. We made a lower low. We're still in the upper third, so we're bullish, but still in a downtrend because we have not made higher highs. Okay, so that's the weekly chart. Monthly chart, right here's the origin, April, up, over to the right, bullish. Still in an uptrend. We have not made any lower lows, all right? This would be the low to beat down here at 400. I hope we don't come down to 400, but we might. All right, so right here at 400, we could see if they break that low, then they'll have a downtrend on the monthly chart. So there's QQQ monthly. All right, let's take a look at IWM. And we'll look at it on the daily chart. And we'll back out so you can see the origin of the move. This is the April rally right here. Up, pull back, up, pull back. All right, so what we got, price, for today's price action, we got the sword. And the sword's pointed in the wrong direction if you want to be a bull. Oh, geez. All right. Okay, so higher high, higher low, closing over a bullish cross, closing over the falling 17, closing under the all-time high anchored VWAP, closing in the bottom of quadrant 4. So that's bullish, but did we make a higher high here? I don't think so. The high there is 253.07, 252.44. So we haven't made a higher high, so we're still bullish and in a downtrend because we haven't made the higher high. So that's IWM on the daily chart. Okay, still bullish, but in a downtrend still. Okay, until they make higher highs. All right, see they made lower lows. They got a low, they got a high there. They got a low here. We made a lower low, lower high, lower low. So we're still in a downtrend. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Try that again. All right, Diamond Dow giving us the doji, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish cross, closing over the falling 17, closing under the all-time high anchored VWAP, closing in the upper third. All right, that's the very top of quadrant 3. So that's bullish. All right, but still in a downtrend. Okay, till they take out that high right there. All right, so that's Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at Stinker. Spinning top, doji like, fat doji. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bearish trap, under the falling, fading 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, if I pan way out here, this is the all-time low. Okay, 2025, this is the all-time high. 2025. We are no longer, well, we'll see about that. We are still, see this is the 33, you can't see it, still in the bottom quadrant, we're actually still in the bottom of quadrant 2, but also in the lower third, so we're bearish, all right, bearish because we're in the lower third, and we're still in a downtrend. We have not made any higher highs on the daily chart. You can see price still underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, underneath the midpoint or the 50-yard line here. So still bearish and in a downtrend, FNGU. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold. All right, for silver, we got a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap, closing over falling 17, closing under this all-time high anchored VWAP, closing over the midpoint. Still in quadrant 3, but not in the upper third. So this is neutral and still in a downtrend until they make a higher high. So let's take a look at gold. Higher low, higher high, closing over bullish cross or bullish trap, closing over the falling 17, closing under the all-time high anchored VWAP, bottom of quadrant 4, that's bullish. They have not made any higher highs, so they're still in a downtrend on gold. USO. USO, lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap, over the rising 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, top of actually middle of quadrant 4 up there. That's bullish and in an uptrend. UNG. Okay, UNG is something, you got to see this. That's the 12-month high made in 2025. You can see very little time spent over that 12-month high. We struggled to print candles and hold the higher ground up there for a long time. So there's UNG on the daily chart. Today's candle, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, closing underneath the fading 17 EMA, closing underneath the 12-month high anchored VWAP right there. We're in the bottom, we're in the middle of quadrant 1, so that's bearish. That's the all-time low right there. That's the 12-month high right there. So we're bearish. We have not made any higher highs. So we're bearish and in a downtrend for UNG. Let's take a look at technicals. T2101. That would be breadth and participation. So we'll start off with that one. And you can see we got less breadth and participation than we had the other day. Okay, as we bounce up. So not looking good for the bulls. All right, not seeing more participation show up. Okay, that's T2101. All right, that's kind of bearish as we come back in here to this reversal area down there. T2122. We can see the majority of the time for March, this price line has spent the majority of its time in the lower half. Today's candle was bullish. You can see with lows, and got a high, got a higher low, and then a higher high, and then a higher low, and then a higher high, and then right here we got a lower low, all right, but we're still hanging out and holding the higher ground up here in the buyer's chop zone. So that was kind of bullish, but let me just say they got a habit of giving it up all through March. Okay, you can see March, they go up. Half a day, they give it up. Half a day, they give it up. 10 minutes, right there, give it up. 1 hour, and then they give it up right there. So, again, says recently a history for T2122. Price action just can't seem to hold it together over the 50-yard line. Okay, so that's T2122. That is bullish, spending most of the majority of the day in the buyer's chop zone. That's on the other side of the 50-yard line. Okay, so that's T2122, T2123. All right, I got to tell you, that looks like lower lows or almost lower lows. So no, we did not take out any highs. So we're still in a downtrend. All right, if we'd have taken out that high, we could have had an uptrend, but this is not a commercial fishing fleet. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. All right, so we got price action. You can see is underneath this falling 200 SMA. That's where you want to be if you're a bear. And you can see price action is not even bouncing. It's just bear flagging. So it's moving down and then over to the right. That's a bearish sign. Not making any higher highs. Another bearish sign. Underneath this falling 200 SMA, another bearish sign. And then if we, that's the all-time high up here. If we measure this pullback and we look at where price is currently trading at the bottom of quadrant 1, so that's bearish. And obviously you can see lower highs and lower lows. All right, so that's a downtrend, bearish and then a downtrend. for T2123. 3-bar chart. Okay, let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. And that's right here. All right, 3-bar chart. You can see we're up in quadrant 4. That's bullish. All right, still in a downtrend because we're making lower highs and lower lows. All right, so still in a downtrend, but still bullish because we're in the upper third. Price action now under this rising 200 SMA. Again, not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear. Not a bear. Well, not a bear right now. Okay, I'm looking forward to that rally. All right, so that's T2123, 3-bar chart. All right, let's take a look at U.S. dollar index. We'll take a look right here. Okay, still trying to break out of this bear flag. Price comes down over to the right. Want to break into this area up here where we have this for major support to hold us up. Okay, so we'll see what happens. This is U.S. dollar index. You can see struggling to make that higher high up here. All right, so we'll see what happens with that. All right, I think that's it for me. Hey, John, thanks for sharing the chart. Let's go ahead and look at the chart. All right, so this is your first time with us. John shares his chart, and he's got a Twitter handle. And I think it's JTrainJJ. I think. Don't quote me on it, but you can find him on Twitter. There it is. All right, so here's the QQQ plan for John this morning. Above 584.66 is a buy. Okay? Above 584.66. Okay, let's go see what happened here. And it disappeared. All right, let's try it again. Okay, so you can see we had that 10-minute uptrend, and we got bullish. You can get bullish above the pivot right here. So we had a 10-minute uptrend. You could have traded this from the pivot right here, 582.40, right on up to the highs right here where then things started to roll off right there. So nice 15-minute uptrend on QQQ. All right, now if you're looking for something strong, all right, during this little mini rally, all right, I'm going to call it a mini rally. I don't know. I hope it lasts for another 6 months, but I'm just going to call it a mini rally right now because it's a short week. If you like price action as it's bouncing back currently, I'm going to say the QQQs have better performance than the SPY. So if you're looking for performance, I would take a good peek at the SPY and just don't get duped out by somebody. Take it slow. Move at a snail's pace. You can get there. All right. You don't have to go all in and risk it all and then have it blow up on you. All right. Just take it slow. And I think you're gonna get there. And you always got me if you're in the room here to ask for guidance if you need it. All right, so you can see here's the plan. See that 10-minute uptrend. Again, you got a picture of money right here. See price up over the VWAP. So beautiful picture of money right there. A little short one today. Did not want to roll over. I was hoping they'd go up all day long when I saw that they qualified for the trend day. But it just didn't happen. And that's QQQ right there. All right, that's pretty much it for me. I'm gonna tell you, I traded that 10-minute uptrend, and that's how I made my profits this morning. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so that's how I made my profits this morning. Trading that SPY 10-minute uptrend right here, up over VWAP right there. All right, traders, that's it for me. We'll see you in the morning. You too, CP. Thank you. See you, John, in the morning. I want to wish, hey, if I don't see you tomorrow, I want to wish everybody happy Easter. Enjoy the day off on Good Friday. And I look to see you when we get back on Monday. So thank you. Thank you, everybody.